please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We thank you for everyone gathered here this evening. Please fill this meeting with your love, our conversations with your grace and truth, and keep us with you ever-abiding presence. To God be glory and praise. Amen.
And if we could have a moment of silence for Mr. Benny White, who passed away this week. Thank you.
Clerk Golick, roll call.
Markovich.
Here.
Spatelli.
Here.
Vanez.
Here.
Kalwinski.
Here.
Ulaki.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Hinosa.
Here.
Opinker.
Here. Moving on to reading of minutes.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes from the August 25th, 2014.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Kowinski to accept the minutes. Last meeting, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes pass. Approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims for August 20th through September 3rd, 2014 for meeting September 8th, 2014. Beginning with claims dated 8/25/14 and ending with claims dated 9/3/14, claim number 4522 through claim number 4753 for a total of $2,352,838.60. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs to accept the claims. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the approval of claims? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spatelli.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Hinosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes, claims pass 9-0. Moving on, we have a public hearing which is now open. 14R-22, a declaratory resolution of the Hammond City Council designating that a certain area of the city of Hammond, Indiana be established as an economic revitalization area to which deductions from assessed value may be requested by an applicant to the Common Council of the City of Hammond pursuant to Indiana Code 6-.1-12.1. The public hearing is now open.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
maybe you might want to explain what 14R-22 is, just if it's which area exactly is the talk, or the sponsor would like to say so people at least know what we're talking about, or what the public hearing is.
Yeah, Mr. President, this is for the second district, West Point Plaza for Munster Steel, so they can apply for tax abatement on their personal property.
Anybody wishing to speak?
Council President Dan Bowditch of Sender and Company. We're the financial advisors to the city's redevelopment commission as well as the economic development department. Just a point I noticed on the agenda that I wanted to bring up. I'm not speaking either for or against, but under resolutions, 10 resolutions, I see that resolution number 14R25 is the resolution to approve the abatement, whereas item number B is 14R-26, the resolution confirming resolution 14R-22. Those really should be transposed because you will need to confirm the economic revitalization area, which would qualify you for the abatement granting process. So if those can be transposed, I would appreciate it. That's all.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
at this point, we probably need to transfer the numbers as a sequence to each ordinance and resolution. Saying they need to be flipped. One of them is, in order for us to approve the resolution, we first need to approve the abatement. Am I correct? Is that what you're saying?
First of all, I'm not an attorney, but I would,
understand.
I don't believe that the numbers would need to be transposed, only because it's just a minutes issue, so that in the minutes, technically, you have approved resolution number 14-26 first, as opposed to secondarily approving resolution 14R-25. So I don't believe the numbers would need to be changed, just the order of their approval.
Excuse me, Attorney Cantar, could you help us on this?
Mr. President, I don't have the minutes with me, but I do believe that 1422 was passed at the last council meeting, and then the public hearing was set subsequent to its passage.
That's correct.
So 1422 actually passed, what was last meeting? What is today?
Right, that
The
was
end of August.
August 25th,
Correct.
I believe. But the confirmatory resolution is after.
Oh, you're talking A and B?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
that's all.
Okay, now he's not talking about public hearing A, he's talking about under resolutions A and B. Those need to be switched. But as to 14R22, it already passed.
Right. So we need to make 14R 26, 25, just revert the numbers. Clerk Gola, could you take care of that?
Where's A and B?
Yes. It's done. Anything else on a public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Moving on to communications.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
received the communication from Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce that says Mr. Anthony Higgs, Hammond Common Council, 5925 Calumet Avenue, subject Chicago White Sox versus Detroit Tigers basketball outing. Dear Mr. Higgs, on behalf of the Board of Directors and staff, we sincerely thank you for making a difference at our Chicago White Sox versus Detroit Tigers outing on August 29, 2014. We could not have done this fine event each year without your support. P.S. Your donations sent over 130 children to the Star Wars night at the U.S. Cellar, and they too thank you. Sincerely, Dave Ryan, Executive Director.
Any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
our thanks to you. To Anthony W. Hicks, perhaps you sent a lovely card or sat quietly in the chair. Perhaps you sent a funeral sprig. If so, we saw you there. Perhaps you spoke a kind word that everyone could say. Perhaps you were not there at all, just through of us that day. Whatever you did to console our hearts, we thank you so much, whatever part. The family of Lonnie Bell Woods, with warmest thoughts, grateful heart, and deep appreciation for your thoughtfulness, sincerely, the Woods family.
Any other communication?
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
I don't know his new position, Dennis Radowski. His wife just passed away just the other day. I know he worked with the NSP program, but I don't know where he was moved to since then. Maybe somebody can help me out with this new position that he has. Pardon me? He's with Neighborhood Inc.? Okay.
Any other communications? Communications is now closed. Moving on to committee reports. There are none. Ordinance is third and final reading. Final passage, there are none. Moving on to introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 14-26, the 2015 City of Hammond budgets.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
I move that 1426 move through first and second reading, be referred to council and as a whole, with a public hearing on September 22nd, 2014.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Spitali. First and second reading with a public hearing held on September 22nd of 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First and second granted.
Item B, ordinance 14-27, sponsored by Councilman Opinker. An ordinance fixing the salaries and wages of all city officials and employees of the city of Hammond, Indiana, other than those fixed by statute or by ordinance heretofore enacted, and fixing the effective date thereof.
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
I move for first and second reading and refer to council as a whole with a public hearing set for September 22nd, 2014.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. First and second reading with a public hearing held on September 22nd of 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second granted.
Item C, ordinance 14-28, sponsored by Councilman Opinker. An ordinance fixing the salaries and wages of all policemen and firemen of the city of Hammond, Indiana, other than those fixed by statute or by ordinance heretofore enacted, and fixing the effective date thereof.
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
I move that 1428 be referred to first and second reading and refer to council as a whole with a public hearing set for September 22nd, 2014. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. First and second reading, public hearing set on September 22nd, 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second granted for 1428.
Item D, ordinance 14-29, an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates.
Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
I move that 1429 pass, ordinance 1429 pass through first and second reading and be referred to council as a whole with a public hearing date scheduled for September 22, 2014.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Spitali. First and second reading on 1429 with a public hearing held on September 22nd of 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second granted.
That was for the redevelopment budget. Item E, ordinance 14-30, the 2015 budget proposal, sewer maintenance fund, 608, parentheses, 8201, a special sanitary debt service exempt fund 308, and a special sanitary debt service fund 309, sponsored by Councilman Emerson.
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
I move that 1430 go to first and second reading, refer to council as a whole, public hearing set for September 22nd, 2014.
It's a motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for first and second reading on 14-30 with a public hearing held on September 22nd, 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second granted.
Item F, ordinance 14-31, sponsored by Councilman Ulaki, Kalwinski, and Councilwoman Venez. An ordinance enacting proposed amendments to the system of user fees for the operation and maintenance of the city storm waste system.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for first and second reading of 1431, place in council as a whole.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Kowinski. For first and second reading on 1431. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second granted.
Item G, ordinance 14-32, sponsored by Councilman Ulaki and Kalwinski, Councilwoman Venez. An ordinance enacting proposed amendments to the system of user rates and charges for the support of the operation and maintenance of the Hammond Sanitary District.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for first and second reading of 1432 and place in council as a whole.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Higgs. First and second on 1432. All those in favor?
Chairman,
Councilman Markovich?
question on 1431 and 32, do we need public hearings for those?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't believe so, no. Where are we at? All those in favor on first and second? I did, she shook her head.
Mr. President, both of those have already been approved by the sanitary district. They're coming back to you for approval, so.
Okay.
Is that the reason why, maybe, Chris? Right. So,
Okay.
both of them already passed through. The stormwater fee and the commercial rate have already passed through the Hammond Sanitary District Board. The Hammond City Council has to affirm that.
Because they have their own governing board.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Okay, we have first and second, first by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Higgs. First and second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? First and second granted for 1432.
President Opinker, that concludes the introduction of ordinances.
Okay, moving on to resolutions.
First item is Resolution 14R26, sponsored by Councilman Ulaki and Spitali. A resolution of the Hammond City Council confirming resolution number R222 14R.22 that designated and established a certain area of the city of Hammond, Indiana as an economic revitalization area to which deductions from assessed value may be requested by an applicant to the Common Council of the City of Hammond pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1.
Mr. President, I move for final passage of 14R25.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Ulaki, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 14R-26. Is there any discussion?
26.
Any discussion?
Mr. President, just for clarity, Councilman Ulaki said 25, but it's 26.
26.
Any discussion?
Call for the vote.
Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Galwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Resolution 14R26 passes 9-0.
Next resolution is Resolution 14R-25, sponsored by Councilman Ulaki and Spitali. A resolution of the Hammond City Council granting Munster Steel Company Incorporated an assessed valuation deduction, i.e. that is tax abatement, for tangible personal property pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move for final passage of 14R-25. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 14R25. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Galwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. 14R25 passes 9-0.
President Opinker, that concludes the ordinance, the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to new and unfinished business. The first thing I have on new and unfinished business, we did set a date for budget hearings, which will be on Saturday, the 20th at 9 a.m. Public is welcome to that. Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I would like to announce some upcoming community and crime watch meetings for anyone who is interested in what is going on in your community. I urge you to attend some of the meetings. On Monday, September 15th, Columbia Crime Watch will meet at Columbia School at 6:30 p.m. On Tuesday, September 16th, East Hammond Pullman Crime Watch will meet at the Ophelia Steen Center at 6:30 p.m. On Thursday, September 18th, Hessville Crime Watch will meet at the Gene Shepherd Center at 7 p.m. On Wednesday, September 17th, Lafayette Neighborhood Watch will meet at Lafayette School beginning at 6:30 p.m. On Thursday, September 18th, South Hammond Crime Watch will meet at the Hammond Housing Authority building at 7 p.m. Whiting Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet Thursday, September 11th at Calumet College at 6:30 p.m. And that is how change happens, one gesture, one person, a moment at a time. Thank you very much.
Any other unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
would like just to mention, I haven't heard it mentioned during the meeting, the patrolman from Maryville, second class Nicholas Schultz, who died Sunday, less than 2 days after he was shot. And I think, on behalf of the council in Hammond, we send our condolences to the family, and we realize that Hammond police officers run this risk every hour, every day, and our hearts go out to them. Thank you.
Any other new unfinished business? New unfinished business is now closed. Public expression. Only speaker of the night will be Mr. John Zolno.
Good evening, everyone. Just a quick question. Will the budgets be available online for the public to review prior to the public hearing on September 22nd?
We'll make that available on the GoHammond.com website on the controller's page.
Thank you.
Any no other speakers tonight? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Hinojosa, second